to the cloud.
And our final poem in this series of looking ahead at what might happen to us as a species, There Will Come Soft Rains by Sarah Teasdale, who the subtitle is Wartime because she was really concerned about the effects of World War I. And so this is, sort of environmental, but it's also a reflection that goes along with what we're talking about here today. So I love it. It's one of my all-time favorites. It's very well composed. There Will Come Soft Rains. And that also inspired the title of a Ray Bradbury book. Okay. There will come soft rains and the smell of the ground, and swallows circling with their shimmering sound, and frogs in the pool singing at night, and wild plum trees in tremulous white. Robins will wear their feathery fire, whistling their whims on a low fence wire. And not one will know of the war, not one will care at last when it's done. Not one would mind, neither bird nor tree, if mankind perished utterly. And spring herself, when she woke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone. So these are all available online if you're interested in reading them for yourself or reading more poems about nature and about the environment. And I thought I would just take a moment to mention one site. If you like monarch butterflies, this one is called makewayformonarchs.org, and there are poems on there specifically about monarch butterflies. But some of my favorite message poems, and not all nature poems have to have an environmental message, if you will, but I love Rock and Hawk by Robinson Jeffers. I love The Answer, which actually would fit in with something that I wrote today. The Answer would be great. The Dream by Wendell Berry, and Night Thoughts, so by a Chinese poet. Anyway, there are so many. So if you're of a mind to match, your interests, go ahead and look into some of those. Now, in addition, we have, I'll show you this book, but there are others like it, The Wisdom of Native Americans. And of course, I have to read something from them. There are Chippewa dream songs that were composed by Indians, Chippewas, as they would walk around and look at nature out on the Great Plains. One thing I thought I would share is, well, where is it? Here we are. Okay. The old Lakota was wise. He knew that man's heart away from nature becomes hard. He knew that lack of respect for growing living things soon led to a lack of respect for humans too. So he kept his children close to nature's softening influence. That was by Chief Luther Standing Bear of the Oglala Sioux. And many of you are aware of Chief Seattle's famous quote about the web of life. Whatever we do to one part of the web affects the other part. And that was an interesting thought that we've heard in many ways today. Folks, it's almost the birthday of John Muir. John Muir was our great American environmental founder of parks, national parks. He got that started along with Teddy Roosevelt. And you can always read the writings of John Muir. They're very interesting. But I want to mention a more contemporary person that you might not have heard about. Homero Ariges is Mexico's poet laureate. And he is an environmentalist who organized the Group of 100. And I went ahead and ordered his book for the Reading Public Library because you might want to read it. It's called News of the Earth. And it's essays on the environment by the different artists, intellectuals, and activists that he had organized for this group. And they did put together their writings. So that's going to be available soon for you to read yourself. But he has some neat poems, and you can Google his name and read them for yourself. We have Thoreau, we have Edward Abbey, we have Gary Snyder with Turtle Island. There are just a lot of really neat writers out there, many different styles. I hope I gave you a little tiny sampling. If you like the shorter stuff, you might want to stick with somebody like, those people I mentioned, Gary Snyder is one of the ones who writes more briefly. The Asian poets write very brief but beautiful poems, and so forth. But anyway, whatever you do, hopefully you can take part in some way in Reading's Earth Day activities. We're having a big cleanup on Saturday at different locations, and I'm doing that as well. So I honor the earth by going and visiting and also helping to study the butterflies and also physically picking up trash because we put it there and we have to get it out of the way. We all share the planet and we all have that responsibility as humans to keep it good for those who are around to have it and also for the next generations. So thanks a lot and have a great Earth Week.